there guys, this is me, Malorian, and this is going to be kind of a late video that's going to be kind of my final thoughts for the Evolution Gaming Tournament I went to a little while back here. So the 4 games are out. This will be kind of more talking about those, so spoilers. So the good thing with this being late is that if you haven't seen those, stop the video, go back, check out those battle reports. And then right now I'm going to be talking about, overall, how did I do, what were my thoughts of the tournament, and my lists, and kind of what are my plans going forward. Well, for starters, how did I do? Well, I wanted, going into this, to be going 3-1. I knew that this was going to be a tough tournament because there's a lot of strong players out there, but I felt that between, I guess to not be tooting my own horn too much, I figured that between my skill and my really good list I was taking, that 3-1 was a reasonable goal to be going after. And really going into that then, it didn't pan out. I ended up getting 2-2. I lost, my first game was Texas versus 72, and that's one where, hey, I just didn't camp enough and I died to magic attacks right away. It was a chump, really quick loss. The second game was up against Trolls, and now this was Texas up against Grizel 2, which was more so me doing model placement errors, my opponent just doing a really good advantage of just taking away my strengths, and just at the end of the game also making some other mistakes that slowed down my scenario play, and then losing the game on kind of like a desperate scenario move at the end. Then I was able to beat what's-her-face, Denegra won with Texas, and then I was list lock going into the last round there, and then with Ostrom versus Xerxes, I was able to win that one. So overall, I definitely did depend on Texas a whole bunch, but man, some of the mistakes I made, some of the mistakes of just underestimating my opponent, screwing up my activations, where my agitator didn't go up and activate first, and make sure that I was instigating around so that my wreckers could do what they needed to do. Not camping enough, we talked about, not looking at the ranges of my opponent's guns to keep my wreckers safe, not looking and caring about the spells that my opponents cast. Because in that troll game, that was huge, where it's like, oh yeah, he cast some spell on his bouncer, whatever, I don't care, he's going to die anyway. Oh my god, I can't cast spells or make orders or receive them while within 5 inches? Yeah, that's a really big deal. And that was just laziness. Laziness on my part and stuff I shouldn't do. Otherwise then, I think at that point then I really pulled things together. The Crix game, I don't think I made any real big game errors there. I did farm my opponent, which made me feel bad. But I mean, my opponent, I explained to him, knew full well what was going on. And then at the end of the day, I then went up against Xerxes with my Ostrom. Luckily, that was a good matchup for me. Definitely got some surprises there where I purposely did this where I didn't ask what changed in the errata, just because I wanted to learn a little bit more. Plus, I knew it was his first tournament, and so I felt that that was my way of like, hey, at this point I'm only 1-2, so who cares anyway? So even though I knew at that part that I'd made mistakes before because I hadn't checked things, I purposely didn't ask them there. And man, Xerxes having Lurch definitely caught me off guard and turned a game that I thought I had locked down to being a game where I had to quickly pull things together. Now, one of the things I should mention is that even though I went and I farmed in the third game, and I made sure in the last game to go and get full control points as well, I still only came in 11th out of 16, which is really bad for me. That is horrendous. Like, sometimes I get rankings like that when I have to leave, right? When I go like, whatever and drop because I have to leave for some reason. Okay, sure, that makes sense. But when I'm there and I played all the games, getting 11th out of 16 is way bad. Now again, 10th place, the one right above me, was Bryn Holdstock, who's, kind of known as like the Canada good player, made WTC and stuff like that. So when you got someone like that just above you, you didn't do all that bad. I mean, there definitely was a Shark Tank, lots and lots of good players there. But at the same time, the only way I'm going to learn is by reflecting on myself and making sure that I don't make the stupid mistakes that I make. Now, apart from that, another thing I kind of realized from game to game to game is that my press gangers weren't really doing the job I need them to. I did originally with Texas was doing double press gangers all the time, and I love them. But I have now kind of drifted away from them, and now I'm liking the 60 dredge build. In fact, I didn't make any mention of it in the game, but my tray was set up for the 60 dredges, and when I went to the tournament, I just took the third unit of each off and put on the press gangers, and I was actually cheating on my first and second game because I had an extra agitator, because it actually turned out, because of the points, that I can't get my second agitator with the press gangers. So the games that I was cheating and took an extra 3-point solo are the ones I lost. So maybe it was like karma saying, hey, Malorian, watch it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, now that I'm used to that 60 dredge build, it is just so good. And it's not just in terms of having the hitting power, because that's a big part of it. Like, say in the troll game, having some more muscle to say, like, hey, 9 adrenal-flooded guys every turn until you start dying is very powerful. Also, the fact that when I feel that I have 3 slaver units, it's a lot more acceptable to be ambushing one of them, you know, especially if I need to be adrenal fighting these guys off. Sometimes it's hard when they're ambushing to set that up, and so when I have 3, then I don't feel so bad. I got 2 with my main line and then 1 ambushing, and so especially in, say, like that Menoth game, the first one, I was like, man, I wish I had these ambushers, but I didn't have them. So looking at that, and of course, you know, it's always great to have 1 more agitator, so I mean, that's even better. So looking at that, that's kind of really locked in my head that I need to have these third unit of the slavers and the benders painted so that I can go and play them in tournaments. Because I've already broken my promise that I was going to play painted in 2017, but at least I can try and stay painted in tournaments, so that's still good. But I need to get them painted. So one of the things that I'm kind of working on now is in front of me here on the table, I have my last 20 dredges to paint. You know, I had done the first 40 all in 1 month, and these ones I kind of like, that killed my soul, and so these ones have been hanging on, and so I've already finished the leaders of both units. For all the rest of them, they're at this stage here, just where they've been, you know, primed and then have the first color on them. So, but then again, I want to have these done for next weekend, because next weekend is going to be a bigger tournament that's more important in Calgary. This one is a 16-person. You could get some points for the Alberta War Machine Invitational, so you know, it was nice. This next one will be a 32-person one, where it'll also be awarding points, but more points, and the winner gets an auto invite to the event. So I'd like to do a lot better here, and I definitely want to have these guys ready for it. I'm already falling behind my schedule, so that's not good. I'm going to have to really push this weekend and during next week to get these guys done. But honestly, it really shouldn't be too bad. I mean, once you get them to this point, I mean, I throw on the skin, throw on the cloth, go do the black tube. That's actually almost all it is. So it's just the fact of being like, okay, let's do this 18 times to get it done with, and then it's done with. Now, apart from that, of course, I definitely have to go and make sure I stop making these silly mistakes and asking the right questions. And if nothing else, if I'm going to make those mistakes in this tournament, alright, let's get that done with, and now let's focus in the future. Now otherwise, you know, how would the tournament go? This was the Team Evolution, or Evolution Gaming, that put this on. They're kind of more of a group in Calgary where they already had the cogs there, but this is kind of like a new group where they're more so starting in fantasy, where they want to be a little bit more competitive, and now they've moved all the War Machine. So this is the first time that they kind of ran an event, and I think it went really well. They actually went out and posted all the scenarios beforehand. I think there's no problem with that whatsoever. You know, the 2 of them were killbox, 2 of them weren't. There was a good variety of them, and so I don't think that's really an issue right there. Yeah, it was just well run. It was on schedule. So looking forward to definitely them running more in the future. And then otherwise, I mean, of course, the Texas list we love. We've been talking Texas, but there was also Ostrom. And so this is, you know, I got to get more comfortable with the list. The Ostrom list is definitely strong. Another person there is actually running the 17 Bunny Ostrom list, and so that was really strong. He came in second place, but oddly enough, didn't really play the bunnies that much. He was also more leaning on his Bart double galleon list. So it makes me really wonder what role this is going to play. I mean, I'm really finding that Thexus can handle 95% of my matchups, and so it's really just trying to find something that can fill those other roles, which is really any matchups which are anti-infantry and control based. And so I do feel that this can be a good one for those, but I just got to get more comfortable with it. I mean, really, honestly, it should be pretty simple. I just move up my little bunnies and double boost my shots. But yeah, I just, right now, say like in the troll game, my troll opponent Chris was saying, why in the world didn't you drop Ostrom against me? And looking back, you know, that Ostrom list would have done very well there, but it's just automatic, hey, it's something that's hordes, I'm going to drop my Thexus, I'm really comfortable with my Thexus, and it's almost like that safety net that I always go to. So definitely during some more of my practice games, I need to just force myself to be playing it, or I need to decide I'm going to go back and try and do my Kingmaker. But if I want to do Kingmaker, there's a lot of painting I got to do to catch up with that one. So that's a whole nother bag of trouble that maybe I'll get to after I'm done these guys. So either way, guys, there you go. I have another tournament actually this weekend that I'm going to be hosting here. I'm only going to be playing in it if somebody drops, so I don't know if you'll be getting any battle reports from that. Otherwise, there's another big tournament I told you about there in Calgary being put on by the Cogs next weekend. So that'll be another 4 games from that. So lots of tournament stuff coming up. Of course, another one right away in March, early March as well. So, yes, should be a busy time, and hopefully I can get some good action going, do really well, so that in April, when GrotchCon comes up, then I'll be in a good spot. I can go into AWI and try and get past the first round. That'd be pretty nice to do in the Invitational Tournament. But anyway, guys, please, if you have any thoughts on the tournament, how I played, my list, any of that stuff, please post it down below, because, you know, best way I can learn is if you teach me, and otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.